Hey, it's Charlie from Heid Music. We're here today with Mike from NativeAudio, doing a quick little interview with him to get you guys more acquainted with his brand so that you know why we think they're amazing and why they are such a good partner for our brand. Before we get started though, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell icon for notifications when I do things that are either pulling things from boxes or talking to people, because it's fun, right? All right, so Mike, we wanted to bring you here to get to know you a little bit and get to know NativeAudio as a brand as well, because you guys, blew me away when I met you guys at NAMM, and it's just great product. So I wanted to make sure that everybody can get to know you guys like I did. So, first question, easy one. How did NativeAudio start? Like, give us a little bit of a rundown. What got you started with NativeAudio and got you into doing pedals?
Yeah, so NativeAudio was honestly a start between kind of combining two loves: one, engineering, and two, music. And by combining those two, it was basically NativeAudio was birthed.
Yeah, and I know you guys started out, it was like Red House Electronics was originally what was the name for you guys. Like what led to the change? What was Red House and how did it then morph into becoming what it is now, which is NativeAudio?
It's easy enough just to say, yeah, it was engineering and music, but I guess going forward, the company itself and the brand itself developed, and I feel like it's just been a progression, as with any other company. It's been a progression of really trying to figure out, hey, who are we and what do we do, right? And where it originally started out was like, I love engineering, I love music. It's kind of further developed into this thing that, I guess, giving us a bigger why or giving us a bigger purpose of doing things more than just building pedals. And originally, when the company started, it was Red House Electronics, and I was just making pedals for guys here in the local area. I, started popping under the hood of different brands of their pedals, and basically just doing the whole modding thing. And then that further developed into, hey, I should try to make my own circuit. And during this time, I was actually studying electrical engineering at the time. And so I would be reading my textbooks and then I would be like, okay, that's cool. I'm going to try this on my pedals. So it was kind of in parallel, kind of rolling with that. So then we came out with the Mint Drive. That was the first product in the line. And we were also doing some mods at the time. Mm-hmm. But then I was also in a band. So we created our first product, the Mint Drive. Which was just like a overdrive that kind of had some slight distortion on it, or a slight overdrive. And then from there, I was in a band, a kind of neo country type of band. Think I don't know, think like Spring Reverb, a little bit of dirt on the chording, and then a couple licks here and there with some tremolo. So but the thing was, at the time, this is like maybe 2015, I didn't I had I was using tremolo on my amp, and I'm like, this tremolo, like, it's hard to keep the tremolo on beat the drummer. And I'm like, I need to fix this problem. As I mentioned, I was doing school at the time. I minored in computer science, and so I have that background in programming as well. So same with electrical stuff, was like, ooh, I know this. I'm going to try this. I started doing the programming as well. And so I was like, you know what? I should try to make my own tremolo. And so, all nerd stuff aside, I went and I coded and did all this other random stuff, and came out with the second product, which was the Heat Wave, which has further developed into the Rising Sun. Honestly, like, the brand Red House Electronics was kind of addressing a personal need of mine. Like, I was like, I need this, and so I went and I built it. That's kind of how everything in each of the consecutive products have also developed. But as we started developing these products, the first one's Mint Drive, second Heat Wave, third was Eagle Feather, and then fourth was Running Wolf. And Eagle Feather, the graphic for that's actually a portion of it comes from my tribe's flag, and there's different elements that are squeezed into that artwork. But then the Running Wolf is actually based on my grandfather, Edwin Running Wolf, that whole lineage of running wolves. Because if you go up the family tree far enough, you have Running Wolf, who is actually the son of Brings Down the Sun. So there's like huge like family ties and everything. And as I started going and developing these products, the one after the Running Wolf was Ghost Ridge. It started, I kind of zoomed back and I looked and I was like, all these products seem to be following like my Native American heritage. And it seems that like originally it was the Mint Drive, the Heat Wave, but all the rest of these products are starting to take care, like starting to be characterized by like something that connects with my heritage. And so I'm like, okay, Red House Electronics doesn't really fit this native vibe. And then also the name is ridiculously long, especially when you're typing it in, you know. And
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just the name's too long. This, and so then I guess that's when I started kind of figuring out the branding on the NativeAudio stuff. And I was like, okay, we got to figure out a name that fits with the products, and we also got to kind of take that and just be consistent with it. And so we went and we dropped the Mint Drive from the line, and we continued with the NativeAudio. We switched our name to NativeAudio, and which I think better characterizes us as a brand. But then also like the name's simple; it's just boom, NativeAudio, period. You know, so that's kind of that transition from Red House to NativeAudio.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, I will say too, like, even looking at, you guys have been posting on your Instagram and stuff of like some, like the Mint Drive and like some of the older pedals, like you guys have had such a, like that clean, simple design has been like from the start. And if anything, you've just fine tuned it, you know? And I guess, has that always been like what you guys have been gearing towards, is just keeping it like very like, cause for like a boutique pedal brand, you guys have like your look and your brand like on like right away, you know, like it's very dialed in. So like, has that always been really important to you with it?
Yeah, I think honestly, one of the things is, you know, when you put on I mean, you know how it is, like when you put on like me, I hate dress clothes. The only time I you know, swallowed a big pill and dressed up from a wedding, you know, like that's how much I don't like dress clothes, right? And so, you know how it is when something just doesn't fit. You know, right now I'm in casual clothes. I throw it on, I feel good, and I feel inspired to just get out there and just be Mike Trombley. But when you put something on that doesn't feel right, and you put on like say a shoe that just doesn't fit, there's something uncomfortable about it. And there's that same feeling, that same process, I think kind of been in the whole like internal thought process regarding our products and regarding our designs. And when we first came out with our products, we've always had that eye for simplicity, right? Or like minimalism design. And but it wasn't until we worked with our graphic designer, because the Mint Drive was an ice cream cone. It just did not fit. Like at one point in time, I was like going to go down this like whole dessert flavored line, which I am so thankful I didn't. And you know, but it's one of those things that like I don't think from day one we knew exactly what we were going to look like. But there's those things where like as you continue to grow, you have things that fit, like you know, internally feel like they fit, and things that feel like they don't. And if they don't fit, throw them out. And I think that's been the whole thing with NativeAudio from the start, is everything that we feel like ends up fitting, we just kind of stick with it. And then what just doesn't taste good or doesn't feel good, we just throw it out. And that's kind of been the whole design process, the whole layout. You mentioned me sharing a little bit about the products and how they look. The Mint Drive, at one point in time, we actually went with using designs for the labels. Like, so, where it says overdrive, tone, volume, those sort of labels, we were using graphics to represent those. But
kind of doing the orange amp thing where it's all like pictures, like an up arrow.
Stuff kind of like the orange amp thing. But then we realized it was a headache trying to create these different designs because it's already painstaking enough to like create a design for one pedal. Like there's like I always joke around with the team is like it's harder. I feel like it's harder to design the graphic than it is to design the hardware for our products. And going forward, we just didn't feel like that fit the brand with the graphics because NativeAudio is very. We don't like to beat around the bush. We would rather just say, hey, we have this and this is what it does. And that's what I feel like the new labeling does is you look at the knob, it says volume, you know exactly what it's going to do. And I really think there's some sort of a feeling of like, yes, when you look at a product and you know exactly what it's going to do and what needs it's going to answer, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I appreciate the fact too that you guys have taken that standpoint of being like simple with the design and just very straightforward, but you guys have packed so many features in the pedals too, like realizing that like the foot switches and stuff are like how it goes between momentary and latching and stuff on all the pedals and everything, and like how many things you've like managed to pack in there. I mean, was that kind of like, I'm imagining that was probably like your goal from the start was to just have like anybody can use this thing, but if you want to dive in really deep, these pedals have a lot to offer.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's honestly one of the things that when we look at our products, that's the thought process that goes into it. It's what way can I provide features or what way can I guess provide access to the sound in a more simple and cohesive way. And one of the things that we really strive for, especially as this is one of the things that we share on our website is, as technology continues to advance, manufacturers and especially engineers feel like there's this need to constantly shove what's new down everyone's like throat, right? Is like, okay, Bluetooth, how can we figure out how to put Bluetooth into this? Okay, there's metaverse, how can we figure out how to put this in a pedal? And it's like, just technology begins to or continue to advance, designers figure out how many ways can I fit 5,000 million features into a pedal. And sometimes as a musician, that can be a little bit overbearing or like confusing. And at NativeAudio, what we strive to do is we strive to take that new technology or the advancement technology, but provide it in a more pleasant way that really is comfortable. Because what we found as musicians is when we're scatterbrained, when we're confused, we don't create the best, right? I mean, it's like if you have a dog or a baby screaming in the background and you're trying to write music, it's hard, right?
Yep.
Yeah. and looking at a pedal,
relate.
yes, and looking at a pedal when it's all confusing and there's just too many bells and whistles, it gets a little overbearing and it kind of scatters your own brain. And what we tried to do was, okay, what's the shortest path we can provide the musician from A to B in a more cohesive and pleasant way. And that's how we approach all of our products. Is our products provide clarity with their intuitive designs.
That's awesome, man. And I mean, clearly, like, you guys are thinking of very much the end consumer, and like you have that all like you're very like thinking outside of just your brand and everything. And I guess like you guys are kind of working towards even beyond that, you know, like with giving back to your community and everything too, like, do you want to kind of go over that a little bit as well? Because I know that that's super awesome, you know, like that very lines up with what we do as well as a company. So it's
Really fun.
Yeah, yeah, and so Native Audio, at the beginning of this year, we sat down and kind of really looked, okay, what is special about Native Audio? Like, what makes us Native Audio? And one of the things that we really looked at is Native Audio is a brand about authenticity. It's a brand about sharing your story, right? And with all the products, I share a little bit about my heritage with each design. And with that, we're all unique. Like, you have a story, I have a story, the people behind that camera have a story, and we all have a story to share, right? And what we really try to strive for is to help others share their stories. And the way we do that is we try to create a community. We try to, I guess, make the musical community more authentic and connected. And one of the ways we do that is by providing inspiration. And, you know, with our products, I guess our products, we hope to inspire the musician. But this, at the beginning of this year, we looked, okay, how can we continue that mission, but on a broader sense? And the way we describe it is doing work that's beyond the pedal. And the work that we decided to go with beyond the pedal, and that we really internally feel close to, is trying to help out the Indigenous communities by inspiring creativity. And that's something that personally hits home with me. I was born and raised on the Blackfeet reservation, and reservations are hit hard with unemployment, addiction, all different types of variables that end up kind of flowing down from the parents to the kids. And so there's very limited resources available on reservations. And growing up on the reservation, I personally never came in contact with music. I didn't pick up a guitar till I was, in high school, and never really listened to music. And also, my background's in engineering. I never engineered until I was in college. So there's all these different things that I personally wish I would have had the ability to connect with earlier in my life. And the truth is, because of these limited resources, these Indigenous communities, the kids don't have access to these resources. And I can't tell you how many future engineers, future killer musicians are probably in these communities, but just don't have the access, or haven't even been told, hey, this is music, or this is engineering. And so one of the big things that Native Audio is striving for this year and continuing years is to engage with these Indigenous communities, to be able to kind of be the light to kind of shine, regarding music and engineering.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, it's definitely, like you said, it's a group of people that aren't represented, in, like, I think at all well enough in the industry, so it's awesome that you guys are doing that, and that you're doing what you can to, like, foster that creativity at such a young age, because it's nuts that it's not there in the schools and stuff like that, but it really lines up with us trying to get music in schools and get that education at a young age, Yes, even get a kid a ukulele when they're like 3, get it in their hands, get them playing music right away.
Oh yeah, it's all about, like, planting that seed that whether it's at some point in their lives, hopefully it grows into something that ends up helping others, right?
Awesome, man. Well, I mean, I guess, like, last question that I really wanted to go over and stuff is, like, obviously we've learned a ton about, the brand, how you started, all that kind of stuff. What are you doing musically now? Like, are you playing out anything, or are you just kind of, like, at home writing some riffs and like designing new pedals, that kind of thing? Like, what are you doing musically now, man?
So it's, I guess, the last couple of years have been really hard regarding like spreading out my time. Just recently married, and then so it's trying to maintain that balance of everything, right? The music, work, or like hobby, work, and then just personal life, and then also health and spiritual. And there's all kinds of different things that I'm trying to maintain. And personally, up until November, I was doing NativeAudio was a part-time gig, and then I was working full-time as an engineer. But thankfully, I was able to transition into full-time with NativeAudio and further be able to develop that. And so leading up to it, time was thin. Yeah. I will say, like, I didn't have the time to be able to pick up guitar as much as I wanted. I didn't have the time to really sit down and really dial amp tones in, because all of it was focused on, okay, let's work on this pedal design, let's work on this. And the only time I was picking up the pedal was when I was designing products. But now, since I made that transition, I'm finally able to get back into guitar, doing daily exercises, of course, trying to stay fit, I guess. So that's kind of been a big portion. But before that, I did a lot with regarding like praise and worship type of stuff. I was really big helping out different helping out the community in that aspect. Before that too, I was doing just kind of helping out in bands and doing some recording stuff. But slowly started helping out with like praise and worship, and so that's kind of been a really big portion of where I personally grew as a musician, and continue to grow as a musician. So that's kind of where I guess I'm sitting at music wise.
Oh, that's cool, dude. They're like, people don't give it credit, I guess, but like, same thing with me. Like, I've been playing guitar since I was 12, but I'm way more of an audio engineer than anything else. Like, I play music by making other people's music sound better. That's how I play.
Oh, exactly.
Yep, exactly. Well, hey man, I don't want to necessarily keep you too much longer. That was a ton of great info, man, and I feel like, if people were like curious about your brand now, like if anything, they have to be like super into it now, just knowing like what you guys stand for, and just, it's just great. And like I said, dude, when I met you guys at NAMM, I already was like seeking you guys out, but I love the brand, dude. I love what you guys are doing, and I love what you're doing with the community. So and congratulations on doing it full time now too. That's awesome. That's so cool.
It's scary, but it's fun.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Awesome, dude. Well, hey, it was great that you gave us some time this morning and everything, man. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
All right, cool, man. Well, we'll quit recording and stuff, and man.
Sounds good.
Easy, man.
Hey, thanks for watching our interview with Mike from NativeAudio. I hope that you learned a lot about the brand and see why for the last 8 months we've been so excited to have them in our stores. Make sure to come down to one of our stores and check out their pedals, or go on HeidMusic.com. We've got a ton of great pedals, be it the Ghost Ridge Reverb, Kiayo Overdrive, Midnight Phaser, Pretty Bird Woman Chorus, Rising Sun Tremolo, or the Wilderness Delay. All of them are fantastic, and you gotta try them out to see just how good these things really are. So, hey, thanks. But also, like and subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things too, if you haven't already. Which, I mean, you should have. So, bye.